It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. An individual wrote asking about karmic justice. So there are many facets to cause and effect. First of all, let's divide it between secular cause and effect and spooky cause and effect. Secular cause and effect is that if you are holding a cinder block and you accidentally drop it on your bare foot, you could bruise it, you could tear it open, you could break it, you could lacerate it, whole 9 yards. There's nothing supernatural about that. Now, but there is an idea of superstitious karma where maybe in a past life you pestered a badger with a spoon, and now bad people are harassing you. The Buddha was not keen on the superstitious karma. In fact, in the Buddhist writings, the earliest writings, they only talked about cause and effect in terms of how our body tends to affect our experience of pleasure and pain, and our experience of pleasure and pain affects our experience of intensity, and our experience of intensity has an effect on our survival instincts, and our survival instincts have an effect on our general awareness. So when the Buddha spoke of cause and effect, he wasn't speaking in terms of, trying to frighten people into morality, but just helping people to understand how their mind works and how their emotions work and how their body works, in an effort to actually extract magical thinking and superstitious out of the equation. As a sci-fi geek, I really enjoyed the Eddie Murphy movie from the 80s when the crust of the earth was still cooling. The Golden Child. Let me know in the comments if you've seen The Golden Child. At one point, two supporting characters were talking about the death of the child of justice, and how it was a great loss for humanity. And that was a wonderful, fanciful way of saying, don't look for justice, you won't find it. In the Hebrew Old Testament, in the book of Ecclesiastes, I shall paraphrase, the race is not always to the swiftest, nor the battle to the strongest, but time and chance happen to all. So, in various spiritual traditions, there is an effort to remove magical thinking and superstition out of the equation, out of the way we think. I like the following phrase: don't ask why something's happening. Ask what. In other words, what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I feeling? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? What am I emoting? What am I willing? What am I thinking? What am I recalling? What am I imagining? And not so that we can scold ourselves or try to control those things, but so that we can notice those things vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly as we breathe in, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system. So that as we exhale, in harmony with our parasympathetic nervous system, we can physically relax and mentally release in a manner that supports us making peace with the present moment. Whether that present moment is pleasurable, painful, interesting, boring, glorious, or grotesque. If you dig around, really get elbow deep in the literary tradition of virtually any spiritual tradition, you will find passages that discuss the lack of justice, that cruel, horrible things happen to kind people, and incredible good fortune happens to really nasty individuals sometimes, and that if we seek justice, and if we seek a personal, petty equaling of the scales, balancing the scales, we're going to make ourselves miserable. Now, I am neurodivergent. I have both ADHD and autism. So I have a profound need for justice, a need that is quite often frustrated. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting others to be happy and healthy and well treated. But there's a difference between wanting that to happen and being vulnerable when that doesn't happen, versus being driven to rash actions, and that always ends in tears. One of the as a child, as an infant, lying on its back, the world is very small. And like characters in a play, mother and father and sister and brother and aunt will enter your sphere and then leave your sphere. And we can feel like we're the center of the world. And it's quite a lovely thing, I would imagine. However, as we grow up, we realize that, number one, we aren't the center of the world. And number two, we are far less than omnipotent. And one of the sober tasks of anyone on any spiritual path is to balance our arguable impotence with our empathy, with the need, in other words, to balance our need to do something with our inability to control individuals and circumstances. That, Alfred, once again, forgive my reference to a Broadway show, but to reference Man of La Mancha, that is the impossible dream. That is our Tolkien quest. I hope this helped.